This is not a story about fame. This is not a story about singing. This is a story about time. Time that can never be returned. In 1983, America took something from a man, something it still hasn't given back. His name was Archie Williams. Before prison numbers, before concrete walls, before chains and locked doors, Archie Williams was just a young man. He lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was 22 years old. He loved music. He loved soul records. He loved singing in church. He was not rich. He was not powerful. He was not famous. He was ordinary. And ordinary people are the easiest to destroy. 1983, when everything changed. One night in 1983, a woman reported a rape and assault. Police were under pressure. The city was tense. The public wanted answers. And when the system wants speed, truth becomes optional. Archie Williams was arrested. There was no DNA evidence, no fingerprints connecting him, no physical proof. Only a single eyewitness identification. In the 1980s, that was enough. Archie said, "I didn't do this." The police didn't hear him. The court didn't hear him. The system had already decided. The trial that lasted days. The sentence that lasted a lifetime. The trial moved fast. Too fast. Archie's defense was weak. Resources were limited. His voice carried no power. The prosecution spoke with confidence. The jury listened. In their minds, the case was simple. In reality, it was incomplete. The verdict came down. Guilty. The sentence? Life in prison. Just like that, 22 years of life ended. When Archie walked into prison for the first time, he didn't cry. He was numb. The sound of the gate closing behind him was louder than anything he had ever heard. That sound didn't just close a door, it sealed a future. He didn't know it then, but he would spend 36 years inside. Not for what he did, but for what the system said he did. The first years. Shock and denial. Prison time moves differently. Days feel endless. Nights feel dangerous. Archie kept saying the same words. "I'm innocent." Other inmates laughed. Guards ignored him. In prison, innocence is a weakness. He filed appeals. Denied. He wrote letters. Ignored. Every year, hope became thinner. But he held on to one thing. Music. In the darkest moments, Archie sang. Quietly at first, then louder. Music was the only place where he felt human. When he sang, he wasn't inmate number XXXXX. He was Archie again. Other prisoners listened. Some cried. Music didn't open the prison doors, but it opened something else. His soul. Years turn into decades. The 1980s passed, then the 1990s, then the 2000s. Archie watched men come in young and leave old. Some never left. He watched hope die in other people. But somehow, his survived. Not because he believed the system was fair, but because he believed the truth mattered, even if it came too late. By the time Archie realized how long he might be inside, his youth was already gone. No children, no marriage. 36 years still waited ahead of him. And he didn't know yet that the same system that buried him would one day be forced to admit it was wrong. Prison doesn't just punish the body. It erases the mind. By the time Archie Williams understood that he wasn't leaving anytime soon, the calendar had already stopped meaning anything. Days blended into weeks, weeks into years, years into something heavier. something permanent. In prison, time doesn't pass. It sits on your chest. Every morning began the same way. Metal doors, count time, shouting, boots on concrete. Archie woke up knowing one thing. He was innocent, and no one cared. Prison was violent, unpredictable. Not always with fists, sometimes with silence. Inmates tested him. Guards ignored him. Being innocent didn't protect him. It made him a target. Outside, Archie had been a man. Inside, he was a number. They took his clothes. They took his privacy. They took his future. Letters from family slowed, then stopped. Friends moved on. The world forgot him. Archie realized something terrifying. Even if the truth came out one day, the years would not come back. From a small prison TV, Archie watched the world change. New presidents, new wars, new technology. He saw people talk on cell phones, then smartphones, then the internet. Meanwhile, he still lived by whistles and keys. He entered prison in the vinyl era. He watched the world enter the digital age. And he stayed exactly where he was. Guilty men count down sentences. Innocent men count regrets. Every night, Archie replayed the same questions. Why me? Why didn't they listen? Why did the truth not matter? Some days, anger burned him alive. Other days, sadness emptied him completely. There were moments he thought about giving up. Not escaping, not fighting, just disappearing. But then, music came back. Archie sang in prison yards, in cells, in quiet corners. Other inmates gathered. Music softened hardened men. It reminded them of mothers, of childhood, of freedom. For a few minutes, the walls didn't exist. People told Archie, "You should have been famous." He smiled. Fame didn't matter. Freedom did. Archie never stopped fighting. He filed appeal after appeal. Every denial felt like another sentence. The justice system wasn't correcting itself. It was protecting itself. Mistakes were expensive. Admitting them was worse. So the truth stayed buried. Hope can be cruel. Every time Archie heard about DNA testing improving, hope returned. And every time nothing happened, hope hurt worse. Some innocent men choose to believe they'll be freed. Others choose survival. Archie chose patience. Decades later, a legal organization reviewed his case. They noticed something strange. No DNA testing had ever been done. Evidence still existed. For the first time in decades, someone asked, "What if we were wrong?" DNA doesn't lie. It doesn't forget. It doesn't guess. And when the results came back, they told a story the courts never did. The DNA did not match Archie Williams. Not even close. The man who had lost his youth, his freedom, his life, was innocent. 36 years too late. Archie didn't celebrate. He sat in silence. Because freedom after injustice doesn't feel like joy. It feels like grief for everything that was stolen, and for the man he used to be. The prison gate opened. Slowly. Heavily. Loudly. For most people, that sound means relief. For Archie Williams, it meant confusion. Because when you spend 36 years locked inside, freedom doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a stranger. Archie stepped outside as a free man. No handcuffs, no chains. The sun hit his face differently. It was brighter than he remembered. Louder. almost aggressive. People clapped, cameras flashed, but Archie stood still. He wasn't celebrating. He was mourning. Because the man who entered prison at 22 never walked out. What Archie wants the world to know. Archie once said, "Prison didn't break me. Being forgotten almost did." He wants people to understand. Justice is not just about freeing the innocent. It's about believing them before their hair turns gray, before their parents die, before their lives disappear. Archie is free, but his story is unfinished, because as long as even one innocent voice is singing from behind bars, his song is not over. If you want, some stories end with freedom, but some scars never leave. Archie Williams walked out of prison, but 36 years stayed behind him. Years that can never be returned. Dreams that never got a chance to live. His voice survived the darkness, but thousands of innocent voices are still unheard. If this story moved you, if it made you angry, emotional, or silent, don't just watch. Remember. Because forgetting is how injustice wins. Subscribe to this channel so these stories don't disappear. Like this video so the algorithm doesn't bury the truth. And share it, because someone, somewhere, needs to hear that they are not alone. This wasn't just a talent story. This was a warning and a promise. Justice must be watched, or it will fail again. Thank you for listening.